So like I say, if you want to know who's been killing your Indians and your Germans and your French people, and who was in those jets that flew over and dropped those bombs on all your women and children.
We want everyone from Fresno to the coast to know what real speed is. And you can almost hear a little glee in the controller's voice, like just touch, like we.
This is a guy that worked for Nixon. He worked for Nixon, and he's SAF, paramilitary, Nixon, John McCain, mercenary. They used to wear helmets, and they would go and shoot innocent civilians and children, like your Indian aircraft engineers and your Indian engineers. So if you're wondering, when you looked at a telephone lens like 2,000 feet away, and you were wondering who was that guy back in 1940, 1950, 1960, who are those people that you got pictures of? This guy who is broke and doesn't have any money, he does this to actually pay the bills so he can get fuel and ammo so he can go kill more people and rape more people. He worked for, John McCain, Richard Nixon, all those, what's called, Jimmy Carter, government, Kennedy, piece of shit. Anyway, now he makes people laugh, and people laugh at his stupid jokes, but basically he was a murderer. He was a killer. He dropped bombs on women and children, shot. They would leave no witnesses. So when people were looking, wondering who that person was in those helmets. Not so funny when you realize that he's basically a rapist and a murderer and a killer of women and children, and they just left no witnesses. They would wear the helmets, and they would go in, and they would say, "On your knees!" And they would, and there's actually photos of them looking at this hangar with the SR-71 in there, or the LSF-71 in there. And there's these 20-year-old guys, and they're out there with these guns and these helmets on, and they have these Indians out in front of them, or Germans. And then you see them take their guns, and they're like, that's the guy. They spend 40 years or 30 years dropping bombs, killing people, and basically just running amok. They leave no witnesses. They're USAF! Paramilitary space flight! But they don't really fly in space or even get close. They just kill women and children and leave no witnesses. So if you're wondering in the Middle East who's been dropping the bombs, who's been flying the aircraft, who is your mass murderers, who was in those jets that dropped the bombs on your women and children, that's the guy. So, anyway, right now, his identity and everything else is... Anyway, he does that to basically help out the Republican cause, help out the Democratic cause. And basically, it's all bullshit. They leave no witnesses. They rape women and children. He has sex with 6-year-old girls, probably. I don't really know. It's pretty bad. It's all bad. It's really bad. Anyway, they just do these little things, and they basically collect the money and pretty much pays for their fuel and their ammo, and they just run around killing people. Basically. They started somewhere, they worked for Nixon, basically. They're the USAF. Our USAF, boys! There's actually even recorded conversation of Nixon saying, our USAF people, boys, they need those weapons out there. They're fighting the good fight. You'll hear him say things like that on the recordings and stuff like that. And that's that guy was 20 when Nixon was 40. And those are the people that have basically been bombing women and children and killing indiscriminately. So if you've ever wondered who the mass murderers are, who killed Germany, France, and basically tore up the planet, that's the guy. And he should probably just be shot in the head. But no one knew who he was, or who... Everyone had heard about USAF, and they were like, who's USAF? Who's USAF? Well, that is USAF, and those are the guys in Germany and France and India killing everyone. And they worked for Nixon. And those are our boys in blue, but they were wearing camo or black. Like I said, they wore helmets, so no one could see their face. No one knew who they were. So no one knew John McCain or anyone, because they all were like basically it was Kevlar body armor they got from China or someplace where they had killed a bunch of people and stolen this armor, and they were running around Germany and France and everything else like these almost awesome people. But I mean, you know, just a Teflon bullet and a high-powered rifle like a 30 millimeter cannon. You just get a 30 millimeter cannon and you just sit over there and it goes. You know, the armor can't stop a 30 millimeter cannon. No body armor on Earth can stop a 30 millimeter cannon. And if you have the technology, it's like, click, goodbye, motherfucker. And it's like, I mean, technology. They were scared of technology. They're trying to eliminate all technology and all science because a good targeting computer and a 30 millimeter cannon, and it's like, fuck you, SAF. You're a piece of shit. So, you know, nowadays, like the Indians and Germans and Chinese are like, goodbye. Just use a 30 millimeter cannon, like depleted uranium. It'll go right through the helmet like it was nothing. I designed the armor. I built the armor, so I know what it can take. It can't take a 30 millimeter cannon. Yeah, just to get a parabolic arc, 30 millimeter cannon, laser sight, and go click, and say goodbye. And you can get, using a parabolic arc, you can get 3,000 feet easy. So it's just a matter of how to get those people. So you just use the laser sight, computer, range, and all that, and that's it. And you say goodbye to those USAF. Anyway, so they can't kill or steal anymore, so now they do infomercial and try to make people laugh or whatever. And they're actually using a laugh track, and I think they were doing pay-per-view or whatever and trying to get money that way because nobody really, like most people who knew that who they were and knew they were murderers. So I think they go to these halls and they actually, it's an empty hall. Like if you turn the camera around, you would see there's nothing but 3 people in the whole audience. And usually there are security guards. Like, and they use the laugh track to go ha 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 ha, and then they sell it on pay-per-view to other military people, and other military people actually think it might be funny, and they think that these guys are popular, but they're actually the mass murderers, and everybody knew it. So, you know, and it's just the commercial money that they're actually making off of these pay-per-view, like the USAF people, and it's just the military, other military, you know, it's fake. It's all fake. Everybody who knows anything knows that the USAF people were working for Nixon and basically mass murderers and killers that wore helmets. If you watch them, because you can watch them and follow them from point A to point B to point C, except at some point in time they kind of like turn into themselves. And they have these other guys, which you think might be, and they do this whole switcheroo because they have these 20-year-old guys and they kind of like switch. So they take off the helmets and the 20-year-old guys put on the helmets, so it looks like they leave locations. And it's like, no, the armor leaves locations. And then these guys leave later on. And but everybody got it because it's like, well, we see the armor leave, and then we see these other guys leave, and they're not exactly the same guys that walked in. I mean, if you spend enough time around these guys and spend enough time watching these guys, but they use aircraft and stuff because they'll like get into a jet and then fly off. And I think they take out, I don't know, they do all this weird stuff. This is all happening between 1940 and 1960. Anyway, and I'm like, I don't really give a fuck, but yeah, you know, yeah, it was known, and I'm just telling the world basically what was up. You know, those are the guys in Germany. When you looked with your telephoto lens and saw some guys wearing helmets and body armor and stuff, that was my advanced Chinese body armor that I spent 1,500 yen or 2 billion yen to create. And it only stops high-powered rifles. Like it might stop, I don't think it stops at 50 cal. But they only went to locations where there was 1,500 feet, so they couldn't be, so they didn't have to worry about high-powered sniper rifle. But a parabolic arc, if you can make the shot, could easily kill them. And one time they were shooting. Actually, they were like, "Let's see if we can get them," because they had already shot the hostages. So they're like, and you see them like running inside the hangar because the bullets are like, and they get hit in the shoulder. One of them gets hit in the shoulder. And like there's video of the whole thing. They have it on camera because one guy's like, let's see if we can get him, and he's like raining bullets on these military people, and they're like this, like trying to get inside